Harpers Ferry.
Hi, I'm Hope Grant. I travel all over, meet great people, and have adventures as I search out history's secrets. Come and join me. I'm a kid. I'm a historian. I'm the Kidstorian.
Robert Harper was the one who founded this town. He made a ferry to ferry people across the Potomac River.
In 1718, way before America won its independence from England, Robert Harper was born in Pennsylvania. As a 29-year-old builder and millwright, he was hired by some Quakers to construct a meeting house in the Shenandoah Valley. While traveling to the building site, he passed through the hole where the Shenandoah and the Potomac rivers meet, and was impressed by the strategic location and ample water power. Robert Harper received a patent for 125 acres in 1751, and 12 years later, in 1763, the town of Shenandoah Falls at Mr. Harper's Ferry was officially established.
Over there's Virginia, and I'm in West Virginia. That's the Shenandoah, and that's the Potomac. When they merge together, I call it the Potomac.
All the rain that falls into the Shenandoah Valley eventually ends up in the Shenandoah River, then flows into the Potomac River. After they merge together, the official name of the river is the Potomac, and it flows right through Washington, D.C., all the way to the Atlantic Ocean. After he was a general in the War for Independence, but before he became the first U.S. president, George Washington was in charge of making improvements to the Potomac River. For 2 days during the summer of 1785, he and his friends inspected the rivers at Harpers Ferry very carefully. Less than 10 years later, President Washington used his first-hand experience of the immense water power to advocate setting up a federal arsenal and armory at Harpers Ferry.
Because the water power was so strong, Washington made it one of the United States' most important spots. Right behind me is John Brown's Fort, one of the most historical places in Harpers Ferry.
John Brown was a man of action who believed slavery was evil and should be abolished. He also believed the only way to make that happen was armed, violent insurrection. That means giving slaves guns and encouraging them to kill. He didn't care for the more peaceful ways other abolitionists like Lucretia Mott and Frederick Douglass were using to help bring about freedom.
Right now, I'm in John Brown's Fort. Really, it was the armory and arsenals, fire engine house, and guardhouse.
So John Brown decided to make a plan. He got together 22 followers and prepared them to attack the armory and arsenal at Harpers Ferry, steal thousands of weapons there, and start a war. But the plan was not very well thought out. They raided the arsenal at night and captured a handful of hostages, including some slaves. But word spread quickly. By the next morning, he and his men were surrounded.
This is St. Peter's Roman Catholic Church in Harpers Ferry. Reverend Costello, who was the reverend here of the church, was called on a man who was dying. He was a citizen who was fighting against John Brown's reign. Even though the man was fighting against John Brown and his men let the reverend pass. John Brown's reign only occurred 3 days, October 16, 17, and 1859. On the morning of October 18th, 12 Marines stormed the fort and captured John Brown and his men. John Brown was tried, convicted of treason, and hanged in Charlestown on December 2nd.
After John Brown's raid, it wasn't long before the Civil War started.
It changed hands 8 times.
By the time the Civil War was over, Harper's Ferry was in ruins. The Louisiana Purchase in 1803 opened up the possibility and need for exploration. President Thomas Jefferson sent Captain Meriwether Lewis and Second Lieutenant William Clark to explore and map the new territory and to study the plants and the wildlife in the area. Their incredible journey lasted more than 2 years, but they made it all the way to the Pacific Ocean and back.
Meriwether Lewis himself came to Harpers Ferry to get food, ammunition, supplies, and guns. Meriwether Lewis oversaw the construction of a collapsible iron boat frame of his own design.
Captain Lewis spent an extra month in Harper's Ferry, working with the men at the arsenal to make sure the boat frame was perfect. For the first part of the expedition, the group traveled in a good-sized boat on the Missouri River. They were saving the smaller boat for shallower waters. Unfortunately, when they got to the part of the trip where they needed the smaller boat, the expedition realized they had forgotten to pack the pitch that was needed to make the hides waterproof. So they decided to try to make a different recipe for pitch using what they found around them. It didn't work. The boat sank, and they were forced to drag it out of the river, bury it, and leave it behind. This was a big setback, and Captain Lewis was upset. Not having the smaller boat meant their trip would be longer and more difficult. But the men persevered, and the Lewis and Clark expedition became legendary.
Three major hiking trails go through this whole area of Harpers Ferry. The Appalachian Trail goes from Georgia all the way up to Maine, and it's over 2,000 miles long.
If I wanted to, I could hop on the Appalachian Trail here at Harper's Ferry and walk down to my house, but it'd take me more than 2 weeks, and I'd have to carry a lot of food to do that. Lots of famous people have been to Harper's Ferry. George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Robert E. Lee, Stonewall Jackson, and Frederick Douglass are just a few. Thomas Jefferson especially appreciated the natural beauty of the area.
Right behind me is Thomas Jefferson's rock. It's the very rock that Thomas Jefferson sat on when he was here. It was his thinking spot. One of the things he wrote in his notebook was, "The view here is almost worth the trip across the Atlantic." This St. John's Episcopal Church was erected in 1852, right before the Civil War. During the Civil War, it served as military barracks and a hospital.
Harper's Ferry is full of cool old buildings and ruins. If you like that kind of thing, you'll be in heaven in Harper's Ferry.
Marvelous job. You achieved all 3 levels of the Harpers Ferry Junior Ranger program. You are a Master Junior Ranger. Congratulations. I have 3 badges to present you today for all your hard work. This is for the first level you completed. This is the Apprentice level badge. That has the John Brown Fort on it. This is for the second level you achieved today. That's the Journeyman badge. It has an 1803 Harpers Ferry pistol that was made here at the Armory. So that's yours. And then this is the Master level badge, which is the highest badge you can earn. And this one looks very similar to the badge I'm wearing. It's got the buffalo and the sequoia tree on it, the logo of the National Park Service. So that is yours today too. And I want to congratulate you for doing a wonderful job today. And you are officially a Harpers Ferry Junior Ranger. Would you like to try my ranger hat on and see what you would look like as a ranger? Okay. Let's put the hat on you. Service Ranger